Hi everyone, my name is Joseph. Today I want to discuss Destiny 2 The Final Shape, the most recent expansion for Destiny 2 that came out on June 4th, 2024. So today is June 9th. The reason why I bring up the date is because just 2 days ago was when the raid released for The Final Shape, Salvation's Edge. And if one is familiar with Destiny, then they're probably aware that usually something of the a component of the story does not unlock until after the raid is first completed or the world's first completion of that new raid. Typically, it's a cutscene that's held behind that wall. But for this expansion, it was actually the final mission that was locked behind that wall. And I have to say that Bungie really did a good job of making the last mission to be very anticipated, and they succeeded in meeting those anticipations. The last mission was called Excision, excuse me, and I had to say it was really exciting to have woken up on Saturday morning or yesterday and hear the news that after 18 hours, I believe it was 18 hours, that's how long it took for the first raid team to complete Salvation's Edge and to have this final component of the final shape to be unlocked. Now, one might be confused because I'm talking so much about the ending of the story. So let me, or the most of what I'm talking about takes place at the end of this expansion. So let me backtrack a little bit. I have to say, while I was disappointed at first by the fact that there's only 7 missions, 8 including Excision. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Hopefully I am. If I'm not, then pardon me about that. I thank you for your patience. I believe Lightfall and Witch Queen both had at least 8 missions. I might be wrong about that. I am very satisfied with the quality of the missions that we did get. One watches the videos that I have on my playthrough of Destiny 2, they might see that I was a bit quote unquote bipolar. And what I mean by that is that I would express the joy that I was having with the game while playing it, impressed by the level design, or impressed by the concept, not the concept art, but the art that was the art design of the final expansion, the final shape. But there was one element of the final shape that I do want to discuss, get out of the way. The most negative element, and that was the being able to actually play the game. So I ended up pre-ordering the final shape for my PC for the first time. I started playing Destiny on my PlayStation, and I always got the expansions on my PlayStation. But I made the choice to get it for my PC since I'm able to get it at a lower price, essentially. $30 off. I was able to get the final shape, and I was happy about that. But unfortunately, on the day of, I was not able to log into my PC version of Destiny 2. The game booted up, the game did load, but while it's loading, it'll kick me back to my desktop, and I did that multiple times. I uninstalled the game, I reinstalled it, and constantly it was doing that. It actually came to the point where I made the choice. I know this might seem silly, but I was really excited for Destiny. And in case one doesn't know, unfortunately, Destiny 2 isn't cross-buy, asterisk. Not everything is cross-buy. The dungeons and the seasons, they are cross-buy. So one buys the deluxe edition for their PlayStation. You have access to the seasons and dungeons on Xbox and PC. What's not cross-buy are the expansions themselves. So Shadowkeep, Beyond Light, Witch Queen, Lightfall, and the final shape, so the actual story portion of the expansions, are not cross-buy. If one buys the final shape on PC, they'll need to repurchase the final shape for PlayStation and or Xbox. And so that's what I did. I just bought the expansion by itself for PlayStation, and I was able to start playing on the day of. It was much more easier to log in through PlayStation, unfortunately, than through PC. That was just my own personal experience. Since then, I have played on both systems, and I am able to log in easily through PlayStation, much more easily through PC. I haven't played yet as of today, June 9th, but up to this point, since June 4th, when the game first came out on PC, the game keeps kicking me back to my desktop. I actually have to load up the game about 4 to 7 times before I finally get quote unquote lucky and the game is I guess stabilized or whatever. I don't think it's my PC because Destiny 2 never did that before the final shape. None of my other games do that as well. And this only started occurring after the final shape was downloaded. And also, whenever this does occur, a sign always pops up saying that the servers are down, and I have to click enter, and then hopefully, if I'm lucky, it'll go through and let me in, or it'll again kick me back to my desktop. So that's probably the most negative thing I had to say about the final shape. It was just the launch conditions that it released in. I was really disappointed, especially because Bungie, I feel like, should have a stronger grasp of how to make this much more smoother. I felt like Lightfall and Witch Queen both had much more smoother launches than the Final Shape. And the fact that I'm still having some issues when launching the game on a specific platform is very irritating, is quite annoying. And with that said, stated, that's obviously a technical error, technical issue. I have to say the campaign itself, the expansion itself, I am loving it, or I am still loving it. I finished the story with my Warlock. I'm actually almost done beating the story on Legendary mode. I'm on the last mission, Iconoclasm. And I'm starting to play it on my Hunter as well. I'm going to do Legendary. I actually did the first mission with my Hunter last night, and I'm planning to continue with that during the weekend. And I do have plans to finish it up with my Titan. And the reason why I want to do that is because Prismatic, the new class, at first I wasn't really enjoying it too much. Especially because when I play solo, I do get a little bit nervous. Because I'm playing solo, so I couldn't rely on myself. So I like to use the Arc class more recently, because I get to have like little quote-unquote buddies. Arc buddy who goes around with me and fights enemies. I start using Prismatic and I can have multiple buddies. So by using what's the exotic? Dead Getaway, I believe it's called. I'm able to consume my arc grenade, have my little buddy utilize the healing rift, have a solar buddy, and then by having a specific Bleak Watcher equipped with Prismatic, I'm also able to have a stasis turret as well. So 3 little buddies at the same time. And I've been really enjoying and loving Prismatic once I discovered I could have that as a tactic. So I'm really looking forward to playing with the Hunter Prismatic and with the Titan as well. Unfortunately, I haven't unlocked it yet on my Hunter. I've only been able to push H and see the animation. But again, I'm looking forward to actually equipping the class. I have heard from the community that the Titans unfortunately got the short end of the stick. Everyone seems to agree that the Warlocks seem to have gotten the best, the carrot. They have the most fun with this new Prismatic class and new super, with the Hunter being second and then Titans being third. But I haven't done much research. That's just from the superficial impressions that I'm getting from people. That opinion might change. But I am really enjoying the Prismatic class. I am enjoying the narration. It's really awesome. Okay, wait, with that being said, I was concerned at first with the narration. The first 3 missions are a bit slow. It does a good job of getting setting up the board to push the narration forward. Excuse me. But the story kind of felt like we were retreating past ground. The first 3 missions, no spoilers for right now, but essentially one has to reconnect with their fire team. And I felt like, even though I never finished the Red War, I did play part of it. And a big aspect about the Red War was reconnecting with the, not your fire team, but reconnecting with the Vanguard, essentially. Cade, Zavala, and Akora. So I did feel like we were doing this again a little bit. But once everyone was reconvened and rejoined, reunited, the story really did a good job with its pacing after that. Missions 4, 5, 6, and 7, more starting with 5, everything just really set the ball rolling and made one excited. My only other complaint about the game itself was I do wish Bungie would embrace more of their first-person shooter side. Remember that their history comes from Halo. And if one has ever played Halo, then they're aware that there's not too many puzzles. Halo is not like Half-Life. Half-Life has puzzles. You shoot, and then there's a slight puzzle, then you shoot, and a slight puzzle. When it comes to Halo, it's just always constantly shooting. I'm okay with puzzles, but I'm not the biggest fan of puzzle games. That's why I don't play those kind of games. And I do feel like there were some instances in Lightfall where Bungie was incorporating puzzles a bit too much. It wasn't annoying, but it was just a bit tedious. And actually, because of the whole login launch issue, my patience was a bit more shorter than I typically would have been. Like, for example, specifically with, I believe it was mission 3, where one has to get a light mote and dump it into the light, or a dark mote and put that into the dark. There was a specific pattern that one had to do that in. There was 4, so 2 lights, 2 darks. And unfortunately, I was struggling to get the pattern down at first. I actually snapped at myself, or just at the game, or I guess at Bungie, just making a statement. I wish, what I just stated in this video, I wish Bungie would focus on the shooting aspect rather than trying to include these puzzle elements. So that's the only other complaint. I do feel like the puzzles could have been incorporated a bit more organically, and maybe have fewer of them as well. Out of those 7 missions, I feel like 4 or 5 of those missions have a puzzle element. Maybe reduce it just to 3. That level that I just discussed, After the puzzle was completed, everything else was just pure gameplay. And after that, I was really enjoying myself, and I got reminded this is why I play Destiny. I was actually very close to rage quitting from that puzzle, as silly as it sounds. But again, in my defense, my patience was low due to the whole getting into the game in the first place. With that being said, I'm sure everyone is aware that this expansion really focuses on a small number of characters. Those characters being Zavala, Cayde, Akora, Crow, and then your Guardian and your Ghost, and some other ghosts as well, such as Targe and Sundance. This small cast, I think, benefited the story, and I really don't have any complaints about the characters who were utilized, who were used, and even at the end when the story has its own little The Legend of Heroes slash Helm's Deep slash the Ride of the Rohan, excuse me, I can't pronounce it, from Lord of the Rings, the Return of the King moment. And also the other moment everyone's keep talking about is Avengers as well. But Legend of Heroes is the whole team up theme first in a popular medium. So that's where I brought up the Legend of Heroes with Charles of Code Steel 4. That came out 1 year before Avengers. But not Avengers Endgame. But I'm going on a bit of a tangent. But yeah, so if one has ever enjoyed Helm's Deep, The Ride of the Rohirrim, Legend of Heroes, the conclusion, or Avengers Endgame, Destiny 2 had its own little moment like that as well. Or the Mass Effect Fleet moment as well, Mass Effect 3. It was really awesome. I love the speech that Zavala gave. I am going to get into spoilers now right here. The cutscenes, I'm not going to lie, after I played the final mission Excision, I did tear up. I teared up from the story itself, just seeing my Guardian's reaction to, again, spoilers, but my Guardian's reaction to losing Ghost, story that he stumbled, picked up the poor little Ghost. It was just so lovely in a good positive way. And also I started tearing up for personal reasons too. I was projecting because when I first started playing Destiny, I don't have that same history that other players have, that 10-year history, unfortunately. I did check out Destiny 1, but I only rented it. And I did play Destiny 2 in 2018, but I didn't. I stopped for a little bit, and then I fully started playing Destiny with Beyond Light, so in 2020. So I only have 4 years of history beneath my belt. But even with that being said, those 4 years, a lot has changed within my life, professionally, personally, and then of course with the loss of my cat, the loss of my dog, and I have such fun, awesome memories of playing the raids in Destiny 2 D1, and my cat being right there in front of me when she was hungry, she would meow, and my clanmates, my friends would hear her and they'll say, oh, they'll start making little meowing sounds and stuff like that. And then my dog, I would put the soundtrack for Destiny on when I would walk with my dog. So just a lot of cool personal memories that I have with the story. So that's why I started tearing up. But also I did tear up because of the narration itself. I think the story did a really good job of just setting up Cayde to do the sacrifice that he does. So he does, after the death of your ghost, the Guardian's ghost, Cayde makes the choice to use his new light to be placed into the light of the lifeless ghost shell. And they did a really good job with that. I think the story projected it quite organically as well. There was hints about it, the way that Cayde stated he was happy where he was. He felt himself with the Traveler, with the light, but also with Sundance's ghost. And all of a sudden, he was ripped out from that happy location that he was at, and essentially it was because of the wish that Crow had made with the Amak'amara. I can't pronounce it sometimes, excuse me. And if one watches that cutscene, that's why it's very Amak'amara reminiscent of the Amak'amara, because it's the wish that's bringing Crow back. It was not the light. Oh, and I always saw how people would say when a new expansion came out, they would hope that's going to be as great as The Taken King, as great as Forsaken. I would always read those comments. I read the reviews about them. And to be frank with everyone, I never really completely understood it. I didn't get it. I enjoyed Beyond Light. I enjoyed Witch Queen. Lightfall, I did enjoy the gameplay and some of the story beats, but it definitely was the weakest expansion. But I still did enjoy it, so I didn't really understand that sentiment, how nothing's really hit the same highs for the expansions as it did for The Taken King for Destiny 1 and Forsaken for Destiny 2. After the final shape, though, I completely understand what people mean by that sentiment. I personally, even though I do like the story, I typically don't do the post-campaign material, things like adventures, going on the patrol space. I just focus on the strikes, dungeons, raids, and then the campaign missions. This is the first time where after I beat the campaign missions where I was actually exploring the patrol map, because it's very interesting, very detailed and fun to explore and wander in. but also because the missions post campaign, they all feel like proper actual missions. They actually added more to the lore, added more to the characterization of the story of the characters. It just added so much that it made one invested in actually, well, completing the quest. Like for example, there was two exotic quests, Wild Card, and I forgot the name of the other one. Wild Card and Queen. No, not Queen of Hearts. Queen something with hearts, I believe. Anyways, but typically I would do the exotic missions maybe like 1 week, 2 weeks after I finished the campaign. But in this instance, the reason why I decided to do it was because of the dialogue that was present, the story that was being told, and before I knew it, I realized I was completing these exotic missions because I wanted to, not because it felt like it was a chore, because I needed to do it. And what was really cool is that there was actually a couple of cutscenes that came included post campaign. I don't think that's ever happened before, besides for the whole raid cutscenes after the raid cutscenes and the world's first unlocks after typically. But besides that, there's no other cutscenes. But with the final shape, there were a couple more besides again for the world's first that came included with the story. So that was really cool, really awesome. I one watches my other previous Destiny video. I did state that I was kind of in the low of things for Destiny. I was unsure about be pre-ordering the final shape. The last video that I have, I actually didn't pre-order the final shape until 2 days before it came out. And I'm so happy, I'm so glad that I did. And for sure, once I'm done with this video, I actually do have plans to go back into Destiny and either finish the Legendary campaign with my Warlock or continue the Legendary campaign with my Hunter. So I can unlock Prismatic for my Hunter class. My Hunter class. But yeah, so that's my thoughts and opinions about Destiny 2. Would I recommend the final shape? Yes, I really would, especially right now because currently, as of this video, there is a sale for the rest of the collection for Destiny, the previous expansions, and also Destiny has released them for free up to the lead up of the final shape. So maybe one is caught up by accident because of this whole free releases, because of these sales that's been going on. And so if one is curious, should I go ahead and pick up this newest expansion? I'm a new player. I didn't experience everything else. As long as you play the previous expansions, if you're interested in the story, and if you're interested in the conclusion of the Light and Dark saga, yeah, I definitely do think this is very much well worth it. Will this bring back previous players? I honestly think it will. Will it bring back new players? Oh, hell yeah, it will. I'm very much grateful towards Bungie for providing this awesome experience. I know it sounds dramatic and silly, but when one thinks about it, Bungie also created the experience of Halo and allowing movie quality soundtracks to be included in a video game to be taken a bit more seriously. Because when Halo first released, people didn't really think of games as a storytelling format, a storytelling medium, or one just to play in. And then of course and then of course the two weapon system that Halo introduced, the health system that Halo introduced, and then of course with Destiny, besides for being a looter shooter and a quote unquote MMO light-esque setting, we also have the fact that I feel like Destiny really helped solidify the three weapon system, the having a light, having a special, and having the heavy weapon. So correct me if I'm wrong about that, but I just have a lot of respect for Bungie and the experiences that they've created. If one has ever played Halo, the ones that Bungie has made, you probably know what I'm referring to. There's always a moment within the Halo games where one just feels pumped up and just connected with the story due to the soundtrack, due to the dialogue, due to the character's presence in that scene, whatever it may be. And yeah, so I really did enjoy the final shape. I do recommend it. If you have played it, please do let me know what your opinions are. Do you think that it exceeds Forsaken? If we include Destiny 1, even though it's Destiny 1 and Destiny 2, does this exceed The Taken King? As someone who didn't play during those times, I can't answer that personally, but I do have to say I now understand why everyone praises those expansions so much. The Taken King, Forsaken, the final shape. I'm definitely looking forward to the future. And thankfully, one is curious. I did get the annual pass, and I am looking forward to episode 1 Echoes. The story did a really fine job of setting up the new future for the narration, and I was concerned that I'm going to get quote unquote not bored, but I was always interested in Destiny because of the cosmic aspect of it, and I was worried that after the Witness, where we have another cosmic scale, and a cosmic perspective, not perspective, but a cosmic portion of Destiny. And I think we will be having that, especially because no spoilers, but at the end of the campaign, something emanates from the Traveler, and it's looking like the Traveler, despite being quote unquote rescued, due to the actions of the Witness, there's still going to be some consequences that the solar system will be feeling. So again, my question for everyone is, what did you think of the final shape? Thank you so much for watching this video. I do appreciate it. And I'll see you Starside. Eyes up, Guardians, and take care.